Hey review family, keep it tight, my name is Jay Morse, Review Guy, and I'm back again to bring you another video, and in this one I'm going to be covering the brand new Enthroned album entitled Cold Black Suns. So Enthroned, they are a Belgian black metal band formed in 1993. This is their 11th studio-length album, and the band has kind of had a tumultuous backstory, but I'm not going to sit here and go into every little detail. You can find that out about yourselves. It's pretty dark, I'll go ahead and say that, but that doesn't really affect the band's music for the most part. They're kind of their own entity. They found themselves on a multitude of different record labels, but this is their first release on Season of Mist, which I think fits pretty well for them. I caught the singles that released in anticipation of this album because I do follow Season of Mist, and I will come right out and say I was not impressed by any of them. I didn't really feel like they were doing much for me, and especially for a band that had been around since 1993, I didn't think that they were bringing anything to the table that a multitude of black metal bands, both contemporary and older, were not doing. Sure enough, this 9-track, 48-minute record is one of the most non-existent, non-consequential black metal releases of the year. The tracks that they pad along to try to build atmosphere that have more of a doom metal feel to them have no atmosphere to be found. They just pad along, they trudge along, they just don't feel like they're doing much in the compositions. Like, the first track has to be one of the most mundane and tedious, quote-unquote, starter atmospheric black metal builders that I've ever heard. Track number 2 is maybe one of the better tracks from a kind of compositional field, but considering it gets in and out before the 2-minute 20-second mark, it's so forgettable, it's just not even funny. And the fact that the blast beats are so fast, and it's so frigid, and it's so icy, and the vocals are monstrous, and the drums are rumbling, it just feels like an atypical black metal track. Track number 3 and 4 don't keep me interested at all. Track number 3 has the same issue that the first track had, where it's slow, so slow at certain points, and I understand it's trying to get the energy and the vibe of the record, but it's not doing a good job of that. And on the 4th track, this whisper, raspy type of quote-unquote singing or spoken word just takes away from anything the track was doing that could have been interesting. Enthroned can do better. They have done better, and this is not the type of record that I would expect a band that's been about this whole black metal thing from 1993 to now. This is a band that, like, just figured out they could play black metal. From a production standpoint, this album is more frustrating than anything. It's like it's just stuck in the crossroads between being kind of technical and overly produced and kind of clean for black metal standards and wanting to be raw and blunt, and it just ends up making it sound so middle of the road that there's nothing to be spoken about from an interesting production standpoint. It's not that raw or blunt by black metal standards, and it's not that technically proficient, and I don't think being like in the middle on this record does it any favors. Some of these spoken word bits and some of these vocals are just so overly dramatic. These guitars can sound a little bit demented, but nothing that any multitude of black metal bands from the 80s or 90s weren't doing in a more like raw and frigid type of fashion. And these drums have this just tinny, rumbling quality to them that's not even the tinny, rumbly quality that you would expect. It's just more annoying. It's not noisy, it's not abrasive, it's not violent, it's not vile, it's just there. Not to mention the drums can literally get drowned out in these compositions somehow. The drums are getting drowned out in a black metal record. Put a gun to my head and I probably wouldn't be able to tell this out from a line of just underground black metal bands that are like, have a couple hundred followers, and it's not what I would have expected from Enthroned. I did hope for a little bit better, but I went into it not really expecting much from these singles. This is by no means the worst black metal band I've ever heard, or the worst album I ever heard, I should say, but it's just one of the more uneventful and just non-existent. You can listen to this album if you want, but you're probably not going to get that much out of it if you're a black metal fan, because there's just better bands, better albums out that are contemporary that I suggest checking out over this. It's pretty middle of the road, you know what that means. I'm going to be giving this album a 5 out of 10. And that is a wrap. Please stay for the end screen. I'll link some videos you might be interested in. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed this video, and comment down below what you thought of this album. If you disagreed with my opinion, that's fine. I'd love to discuss it. Like this video if you enjoyed it. Smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads, and I'll talk to you guys next time. But until then, my name is Jay Morse, Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.